Big Deke news on a Friday. Big Deke news. Well, we got good news and bad news for today's show. Let's start with the good news. Because yesterday we were hit with a TJ Watt injury scare. He was DNP in Thursday's practice with a heel injury. But today, he was back at practice and said his heel feels great, which makes it seem he will be good to go for this matchup this week against the Rams. This is obviously phenomenal information because we all know the Steelers' record stat. When we have TJ Watt and when we're without TJ Watt, it's a big difference. I was going to say this before hearing this new info. If TJ was like 50-50 or if there was a chance he could worsen the injury or re-aggravate it, just rest up. Whether it's just this week or the next 2 or 3 weeks, it's better to get you back 90%, 100%, as opposed to you potentially re-injuring yourself and being out an extended period of time, God forbid, the rest of the season. Because we had to deal with that last year for 8 weeks, and it wasn't fun. But now let's get to the bad news. When things started to look up for this offense with the return of Deontay Johnson, Anthony McFarland, and Pat Freiermuth, we unfortunately took a step back because our starting tight end, Pat Freiermuth, re-aggravated his hamstring in Thursday's practice yesterday and is definitely out for this week against the Rams and could be out for the next week or so as well. This offense just can't catch a damn break on and off the field. But for today's final topic, we're going to talk about a player from the opposing team we're going to be facing off against, specifically Aaron Donald. Because we all heard the AD to Pittsburgh Steelers trade rumors throughout this offseason, right? And they made some sense because it would have been a homecoming for Donald in the late stages of his career. And also the Rams were potentially going to be in rebuild mode for 2023, potentially tank mode. And there were a couple other reasons. But we actually heard from the man himself yesterday if Pittsburgh was ever, or if it could ever be, a possibility for him as his career goes on. Have a listen.
You know, you've been a Ram your whole career. I'm guessing, you'd like to play your whole career here, but could you see yourself at any point finishing your career in Pittsburgh?
Not really. I never thought of it. Never thought about it, but, no.
I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. Or at least I'm not buying it completely because, one, what else was he going to say at the podium right there while he's still a Los Angeles Ram? Yeah, I can't wait to get out of LA and go back home to Pittsburgh. No. But also, yes, he could finish his career out in LA. Sure, that's probably more likely than not. But for him to say he's never thought about coming back home to Pittsburgh, I'm saying that's cap. Donald even said himself, he's still a Steeler fan. You got a dude that grew up in Pittsburgh, still a Steeler fan. You mean to tell me you haven't thought about it? At least for a little bit? Like, bro, man, maybe I could finish out my last 2-3 years of my career in Pittsburgh, win a Super Bowl. That'd be awesome.
Steelers fan.
We all grew up. I still consider myself a Steelers fan, obviously, until we got to play them. I still look and see if they're doing good. So I'm still a Steelers fan myself until we got to, suit up and play against them.
So here's what I'm looking for in this game. I'm looking for some sort of sign, some sort of hot mic moment, almost like Odell Beckham Jr. back in, 2019, 2020, where there was a quote of him saying to Mike Tomlin, you got to come get me. Could AD wear a Pittsburgh-themed shirt in his pregame walk-up to the stadium? Could it be a Pitt logo? That's the school that he went to. Maybe a 412 shirt. Maybe a Nolac shirt. If you guys know that brand, shout out. But also look for a conversation with Mike Tomlin post-game. Get something along the lines of, yo, Coach T, I think it's time for me to come back home. We ain't getting it done out here in LA. It's pretty obvious. Need to go back to the 4-1-2. And this has to happen after a win. We need to prove that we are the better team for AD, that he would rather be here. He has a better chance at another Super Bowl in the Steel City as opposed to out in LA. Maybe a conversation with Pitt alum Kenny Pickett. I don't know. All I'm saying is be on the lookout because what AD says in front of the media, in front of the podium, doesn't necessarily mean that's his deep down intentions. It could be about what you're doing behind the scenes or what you say behind the scenes. If we get a hot mic moment, we could get a quick camera of him saying or doing something, some type of sign where he doesn't think it's out there for public consumption. Who knows? Who knows? And I'll be honest, it's probably a reach, but all I'm asking for, AD, give me a sign. But that's it for this edition of Big Deke News on a Friday. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay chilling. And peace.